Hey guys, gals and they thems. If you've been paying any attention to the current situation in the gaming world, you may have noticed the rumour mill going mad this week around the imminent announcement of what people are calling the Nintendo Switch 2. I've been looking into all these rumours and today I'm here to give my opinion on them and my hopes for the next generation Nintendo console. I'll be honest, I'm very much a Sony girl. I've owned every generation of PlayStation consoles, including their handhelds, for most of my life, and I plan to carry that habit on. My first introduction into Nintendo was with the Game Boy. I got to play Pokémon on my cousin's old original Game Boy. I was told to spam Psychic using Mewtwo, and after that, I wanted one for myself. So, I saved my pocket money, hopped to Toys R Us, and bought a lime green Game Boy Color with Gex Enter the Gecko as my first game. My next Christmas, I got given Pokémon Blue, and that was my first introduction into the world of Nintendo. From that point, I continued to buy the handheld systems Nintendo released to feed my Pokémon addiction, which brings me to today's video. If you're a fan of Pokémon like I am, you're probably aware of last year's announcement of a new Legends game, Pokémon Legends ZA. An excerpt taken directly from Pokémon's website states, ZA is a new adventure set within Lumio City will launch on Nintendo Switch systems in 2025. Now, the wording on this is what intrigued me the most. The use of the plural systems says to me there will be more than one type of Switch console that this will be released on. The OLED Switch doesn't count, as it doesn't have different software to the original Switch and has never had OLED exclusives. That wouldn't make sense. So, the only logical conclusion is there will be more than one Switch console. Nintendo has already confirmed that the new console will have backwards compatibility, so this checks out. On top of this, sets trademarked for Pokémon TCG, Mega Brave and Mega Symphonia have been found by PokeBeach, hinting at Mega Revolutions. PokeBeach usually finds trademarks around 6 to 8 months before the set's release, so we could see these as early as July. However, trademarks are sometimes revealed out of order, pushing their release dates later into that range. Also, typically, the TCG expansion of new games usually follows within 2 months of release. Meaning, if this trend continues as it has done in previous TCG expansions and their respective games, we could potentially see Legends ZA releasing around April or May this year. It's been 9 years since we last saw Mega Evolutions in the TCG, so I'm looking forward to seeing them return. According to Reddit user Dr. AwesomeX, a release date for ZA was slated for August 15th on Amazon UK's website, so there's a potential it could be released later in the year. However, this could just be a placeholder, as it was later removed and just put down to 2025. As usual with new consoles and games, there's always retailers and developers around that will drop the ball and accidentally release information too early. Niantic recently included source code including the date of the next Pokémon Presents for February 27th, which to those who don't know is Pokémon Day. This date has held a Pokémon Presents every year since 2021, so it's almost a sure thing we'll get some news about ZA then. As for the Switch 2 itself, plenty of leaks have been surfacing, including accessories and the console itself. Or at least allegedly. From Reddit user Future31, it's alleged that Genki, a company who creates accessories for consoles, owns a real Switch 2 and it's penned for an April 2025 release. In an update to the thread they state, on the television present on its stand, Genki presents videos of the Joy-Con 2 controllers in which we can see the famous optical sensor that has been talked about so much in recent days. The company tells us that this is indeed a novelty of the console, even if it's not been able to test the games that exploits it. However, she has no idea of the usefulness of the C button, which will appear on the right Joy-Con. At CES 2025, Genki exhibits 2 models of the Switch 2, which confirm all the previous rumours. The Joy-Cons are now magnetic, with a very good feeling of solidity. There is a button to remove the Joy-Con. The Switch 2 is also larger than the Switch 1 and introduced a second USB-C port at the top. We were also able to see the Joy-Con 2 with a coloured joystick, without the possibility of filming them. Again, it's impossible to say if they're real accessories or replicas designed for promotional purposes. However, I will state that Genki has recently backtracked again and stated that in fact the models that they do have are prototypes and may not be a final example of what the models are going to be, which is typical of a company that has created a leak. So it seems like the consoles before it, the Switch 2 also comes with a gimmick feature with the inclusion of optical sensors. I'm interested in how this feature will be used, as typically these are used for gaming mice. Will we get a mouse feature for the Switch 2 or something more? I think that Nintendo is at the point where they feel they don't have to rush to announce the system. and I believe they will stick to their guns instead of pushing the announcement forward. I mean, what's the point in pushing it forward when so many people are talking about it anyway, including myself? The publicity and rumours are good for them. My hopes for the new console echo the voices of many. 60 frames per second, a bigger, better screen with Ultra HD would be great, the stick drift of its predecessor fixed, a more powerful chip with the potential for AI upscaling would also be a big one up. But with Digital Foundry revealing Switch 2 being as powerful as PS4 or Xbox One, I haven't got my hopes up for this being the big next-gen console for Nintendo. Of course, those claims are speculative, but with the trend of Nintendo always being a step behind Sony and Microsoft, with the power of their consoles, it seems very likely to be true. Nintendo has always prided itself on its IPs, and it's always worked out for them, even when the Wii U flopped. Although for me, they have somewhat stagnated. Perhaps we will get a new IP from Nintendo with the Switch 2? One can only hope. Personally, I will be buying the Switch 2. I've still got to feed that Pokémon addiction, and with how much I enjoyed Legends Arceus, I'm hopeful that ZA will surprise me in the same way. Thanks for listening to me ramble on. If you love games and enjoyed watching this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment and let me know what your predictions are for the new Nintendo console. Bye bye!